Hey Steph, it's Friday. While I wait patiently for your next video, now that you're back from France, I wanted to talk a bit about being myself. So, one of the things that is most important to me while I make these videos is to make sure that I stay true to my own voice. I've never really been a person who's extroverted or super wordy, and so I hope that as I get more comfortable behind a camera that I can actually continue to stay true to who I am. Before I get too far into this, there's a word that you should know the definition of. That word is polymath. And so its definition is basically, it comes from Greek, meaning having learned much. And so it's basically a word for a person whose expertise spans a significant number of different subject areas, a person who's known to draw on complex bodies of knowledge to solve specific problems. It was coined in the Renaissance age in Europe, and while I think it kind of applies to me, I think a better term for what I am and sort of the values that I espouse would be a poly-nerd. So obviously I am a nerd. I feel it, and I'm sure people around me see it. But more than that, I'm actually a poly-nerd. I have a humongous amount of passion for every scientific discipline. I love technology, I like superhero movies, TV and movies, reading, politics, math, space, you name it, geography, I could go on and on. It's interesting to me that the world we live in today is extremely overwhelming. You have Facebook, you have Twitter, you have Google+, you have Dig, you have YouTube, you have Instagram, you have Tumblr, you have all of these platforms, and everything basically. The more people you connect with on these various networks, the more stuff that you're going to see. In times before the internet, if you wanted to get exposed to all this kind of information all at once, you either had to go to a town hall meeting, or you had to go to a library or some kind of archive. But now we're being exposed to basically the entire world, more and more people and more stuff. It's basically the job of these social networks that we have to filter all this for us and to decide what's important and to decide what's not important. And it's causing an effect which people have called a filter bubble. So basically, without even realizing it, the people that you network with the most control what you see and control what you think about. One of the ways you can think about this is if you're friends with a lot of people, like-minded people on Facebook or Twitter or any social network will do as an example. But if you're friends with a lot of like-minded people politically, say on Facebook, you're going to start to see just that point of view. It basically it's a vicious cycle reinforcing one-sided beliefs that you already believe in. And what ends up happening is you get stuck in a bubble where you start to think, and it's reinforced that the opinion that you have and that the people around you have is the only opinion that exists. I've been affected by this directly in that I find that when I'm looking on the internet for new stuff to learn, for stuff to watch, or for stuff to read, it's really hard for me to get exposed to new stuff, but also to get the things that I think exposed, because there's just so much stuff swirling around it. You get caught up in it really easily. And for instance, with these videos, with the Future Tech Chats I'm doing, with my podcast, it's really hard to get noticed and to feel like you're actually making a difference in the world. I mean, on one hand, it's really sad because I like to think that my opinions are worth other people hearing. I like to think that what I have to say is worth other people's time. But on the other hand, it's good because it encourages me to keep trying to get better so that I can be relevant to more people, so that my own opinions in my head and that I can say to people are more refined and more correct. I'm trying to experience as much of the world as I can and to make as big a difference as I can with all the stuff I'm trying to do. I've also found that because of all of these topics that I love, all the TV and the movies and books, which I haven't read a book in so long, and I love reading. I read a ton, but I haven't had a chance to read many books. There's news in science all the time in so many different scientific disciplines. There's news about technology that I can't possibly keep up on. So I end up spreading myself really thin, and I never go in depth on one single topic. And that's really unfortunate, because when you're trying to talk with someone, like many people, and I myself really love some things and have a deep knowledge of them, but it's really nice to have a deep conversation about some topic, some very specific topic that you know more about than almost anybody else. And that's getting rarer and rarer, because we're all sort of spreading ourselves really thin. We're just touching the surface of topics and not getting deep into specific things. I don't really know what to do about this, but I find it very annoying that it keeps happening. I went to university for 5 years after going through 12 years of school, and I took lots of really, really intense classes in science. And I find that a lot of that information sort of rattles around in my brain, and it comes back, resurfaces every once in a while, but a lot of that information, unfortunately, is gone or it's fading from my mind. I'm having to try really, really hard to sort of keep everything fresh so that I can keep coming up with new thoughts and keep having interesting ideas and thinking about things in new ways. I don't know if the job I have right now is where I want to be for the rest of my life, but I think that working for an organization like I do at NSERC, which is the Natural Sciences and Engineering Research Council of Canada, will give me a great opportunity to learn, to keep my knowledge fresh about new scientific discoveries, new scientific innovations, new technology, all that kind of stuff. So I'm really excited to be working there, to get exposure, to be able to expose myself to things that are on the forefront of the scientific frontier. Because otherwise it'd be really, really hard working 40 hours a week and trying to do all the projects that I'm doing on the side and keeping up with all of this news and new information that I would love to learn about and to digest. Man, it is tough, but yeah. I'm really excited to see what you have now that you're back from France. I'm excited to see some pictures and some video, hopefully, of France. Yeah, looking forward to the schedule getting more back to normal on your side. And that being said, I will see you next week. Love you. Bye.